Good afternoon, everybody. Today, Operation Persist has resulted in the arrest of a 46-year-old man from Victoria following a hit as a result of a DNA search. This relates to the murder of 36-year-old Suzanne Poll in 1993, and that murder has remained unsolved for 26 years despite the best efforts of everyone who's been involved in investigating that case over the years. Today's example is a very good example of the fact that we actually don't give up and we keep trying no matter how many setbacks there may be. And this result is solely to the dedication of the detectives in our office, the forensic science SA people, our forensic response section, and all those people that have worked on the case over the last 26 years. By way of background, Suzanne was working in the Sands at McDougall shop at the Parabake Shopping Centre late one night back in 1993. The lights in the premises were off and she had just closed the shop but left the front door open. We believe that she was counting the day's takings at the counter with an overhead light on when a person has entered the shop, we believe most likely to rob her, and for reasons that are completely unknown to us, it's escalated into a vicious and sustained attack that has resulted in her death. The examination of the scene at the time identified to us that the offender had been cut himself during the attack, and he had left a considerable amount of his own DNA throughout the premises. We've checked that DNA constantly over the years, and on each occasion it's been a negative result. We've previously conducted familial searches to try and identify somebody that this offender may be related to, without success. Relatively recently, we again submitted the DNA for familial testing, and we got a result that indicated that the offender was likely to be related to somebody that was on our database. So from that, we constructed a family tree, and then we worked through those people in the family to identify who was most likely. And then on the 6th of September, we obtained a DNA sample related to that offender, which we submitted for examination. It was only yesterday that we got written confirmation that we had a match, and the majority of today has been spent trying to locate the present whereabouts of the offender in Victoria, and it was only very late this afternoon that he was taken into custody. Over the years, we have checked the national database constantly. We have checked internationally a number of times to try and identify this DNA, and again without success. So this today is a very important breakthrough for the family. It's a very important breakthrough for the investigators, but it's very much the start of what will be a completely fresh investigation. And I can tell you this person has never come up in the investigation in the past. We're assisted today by the Victorian Police Cold Case team, who made the arrest. Tomorrow our detectives will fly to Victoria, where they'll be making inquiries over the next 2 days, and will seek extradition of this offender to South Australia. Just in closing, I'd again like to acknowledge the dedication and commitment of everybody involved, the investigators, the forensic response people within South Australia Police who collected the DNA many years ago, to the people at Forensic Science section who do an outstanding job in all our cases, and really the determination of all those people. I'm happy to take questions.
You've already touched on this, but how proud are you of your detectives and your team that even so many years down the track that they don't give up and they've got their man for a case that many of us remember? Yeah, and it's not just our detectives. Obviously, I think we've got an awesome team at Major Crime Investigation Branch, but similarly, the quality of people we have at Forensic Science SA, we have an outstanding team there. They're very committed to Operation Persist, as are our forensic investigators, our intelligence people. You know, it's much wider than major crime, but everybody who's been involved in this case should be proud of themselves. Is this person originally from South Australia? Yeah, what we do know is that he's a 46-year-old man. I won't go into his personal details, but I can say that at the time of the offence, he was living about 300 metres from the store. And how long has he been living in
We don't know because, as I say, this is only recently we've identified him. He would have been aware in very recent times that we had an interest in him and we wanted him off the street as quickly as possible. So we're really at the start of what will be a lengthy investigation.
Do you think he lived here in South Australia much longer after the offence?
I can't tell you that at the moment.
Did he resist at all when he was taken into custody?
No.
Was it sort of coming? Do you think?
He was spoken to by our detectives on the 6th of September and I won't go into what was said in that conversation, but he would have suspected at that point that he was a suspect and he may have been worried from that point. So once we got a confirmed hit with the DNA, it was our objective to have him off the streets as quickly as possible so he didn't hurt anybody.
In this case,
Was
really,
he being charged at all?
Yeah, he will have been charged at the Ballarat Police Station where we'll refuse bail and he'll remain in custody until he appears before a magistrate.
this case really shows how important DNA is, even from old cold cases.
It's everything. Technology alone doesn't generally solve anything. It's a team approach to every one of these investigations. It's the first patrol that goes and how they handle the scene. It's the forensic people, the job they do when they get there. It's the forensic science SA people on how they do their work and how they research and how they make themselves better. And it's the investigators who hold the case and deal with the family and maintain that enthusiasm over 26 years when you get setback after setback. Over 270 people have had their DNA taken in relation to this case and checked as possible suspects, and each one of those has been negative. So you can imagine the frustration people have had over the years.
Are you satisfied that this offender, this alleged offender, wasn't known to Mrs. Poll at all, that he was just a random, brutal, random attack?
We honestly don't know because he only lived a very short distance away. He lived walking distance away, and who's to say whether he had been into that shop and done legitimate purchases in the past? We just don't know because the investigation is in its infancy. And as I say, he'd never come to notice in this investigation. So it's really starting this whole investigation again with him as a suspect.
Was he have relatives in South Australia?
Beg your pardon?
Does he have relatives in South Australia?
Yes, he does have some.
Was this man known to Ballarat police?
No.
What was the reaction from the family when you notified them of this breakthrough?
I don't want to speak on behalf of the family too much, but the investigators did tell me that they were happy, they were grateful. But again, it's shock. It's completely out of the blue. They weren't expecting it. From the time we got the notification yesterday until today, things progressed very, very quickly, and that's why we're doing this very late today.
Can you go into any details on the familial link from the database to the suspect? So he wasn't on the database himself, but it was someone on the database who had family links to him.
Yep. So somebody was identified on the database and compared to the scene sample, and they could tell us that it was possibly, not certainly, but it was possibly somebody related to the person on the database.
You talk about how.
And it was a man. No, I won't talk about that.
So someone who's offended recently and you've been able to do a match?
No, I'll explain it to you in more detail after. It's probably simplest, but the familial search identifies possible results, but they're not certain. So you have to do the work, and we've had familial results in the past, which didn't result in an arrest.
Was he already in custody at the time of his DNA test, or was he free?
No, he was free. He hasn't been in any trouble basically since this offence.
So he hasn't got a criminal history, or he's not known to police for...
No criminal history, not known to police.
So you expect him to be extradited on the weekend and perhaps appear in court on Monday? Is that how?
Most likely he'll appear in court in Ballarat on Monday, and then he'll be extradited to South Australia as quickly as possible after that.
Was the DNA sample from police action for the original DNA sample of the person that was linked to the actual man, or was it through I'm just trying to work out where you got the DNA sample of the familial match.
I can probably explain that best to you afterwards.
Okay. Last questions. That's it.
Right, we're done.